so let's have the part 2 of the AUDUSD backtesting session. So what is going on from a daily perspective at the moment? So as you know, basically the market, as you can clearly see, the market is just consolidating sideways. So until now, there is nothing really we can do. If the market obviously will break to the downside, then we will have a possible ICI strategy to the downside. If the market will break to the upside, we will have a possible ICI strategy to the upside. But as we are speaking now, not much we can do. Okay, so the market decided to break to the downside. Now, if the market will give us a retracement, we can definitely be looking for a possible short opportunity, and perfect. The market created the impulse correction. What do we want to do? We want to take the next impulse to the downside for a very nice ICI strategy. You're right. So let's go down on the 4-hour time frame and start to look for an entry. Now, as you know, when you go on the 4 hours, you have to put the indicators, right, to see which is the environment of the market. Now, in this case, I will keep the indicators on also for the remaining of the video, just to not go crazy every time switching on and off, but you only have to look at them on the 4-hour time frame. Now, at the moment, as you know, the environment is bullish, so let's just wait for the environment to actually shift. Perfect. The environment now shifted to the downside, and we can start to look for a short after this gap will have been filled. Okay, so the market now filled the gap. Now, obviously, the market is above the EMA, so we have to wait for the environment to go to the market to go back below the EMAs. And then if we get proper one of our basically valid entries, we can definitely take the short. And it seems the market is almost shifted environment. Okay, so in this exact moment, the market obviously shifted environment, market below the zero, EMA is cut for short, and the market broke the structure, right? Previous support, Notto resistance. So we can be looking for a nice short. Obviously, when it comes to stop loss, how do we do it? You already know it from the sessions. Simple Fibonacci from the high to the low, and the stop loss is above the 78.6, right? And what about the take profit? Simple Fibonacci on the retracement, since there's an ICI to the downside, and the take profit will be at the minus 27, giving us this risk reward, which is not bad, right? So let's see how this will actually play out. Okay, so overall pretty nice. 3.4 are here on the first trade in the second half of 2018 on AUDUSD, and let's keep going and see what the market will give us. So here from a daily perspective, what do we have at the moment? We have this information. However, the area from here to here is obviously very small, so we will never get a 1, 2, 3 for the push to the upside, so we can't really be interested in the possible long yet. Obviously here we have new structure, so we could be looking for an ICI to the downside. However, let's see what kind of price action we're getting on a 4-hour perspective, because yeah, no, okay, we can be looking for the possible ICI to the downside. Let's see if we get a valid entry. Okay, so obviously immediately we don't have that possibility anymore. The market went back above the area, and we now have a nice move to the upside. Let's see what kind of situation we have at the moment. So let's check the weekly time frame. Okay, what do we have? So from a weekly perspective, it's pretty clear that we have an ICI to the downside, right? Impulse, correction, and what do we want to see? We want to see the next impulse to the downside. So from a weekly perspective, we are definitely bearish with downside target. Let's take our Fibonacci from the high to the low and identify the minus 27. We definitely want to see the market reach this area. I want to see it. Sorry, let me make it visible. Okay, so this is our overall downside target. So we already know that is our overall downside target. Let's just go on the 4-hour time frame and look for an entry, since down the structure also in the daily is bearish, right? So clearly, technically this was the entry. Okay, that is where we had to take the entry. So anyway, we will put it here. If the market will go for a retest, we will definitely be in the trade. This will be a pretty nice risk reward to the upside. The structure is here, so definitely the stop loss up here is way protected, way above the structure and protected by it. And when it comes to take profit, this will be a massive trade to the downside. Okay, so definitely the market did hit our entry, but anyway, it had already hit our entry zone here. So it hit it twice, and now we are risk-free on the trade, right? Because the market broke below the low, and when the market breaks below the low, what happens? You're right, you go risk-free. Let's see if this will actually end up being take profit. and okay, almost, not yet. It should go down and hit take profit. Okay, finally. Okay, so this was a pretty massive. What is the problem with this? I will have to bring it here again. I don't know why it is basically not. It's not expanding. I don't know why, but anyway, you get the point. It's a good risk reward to the downside, 5.4, and the market. What is going on here? I don't want to reload the page, but TradingView is going a little bit crazy. So every time I click now, it puts a risk reward tool. Okay, I'll have to. I have to reload the page. By the way, you can skip this part, obviously. So let's go and basically get our where we were, and yes, that is exactly where we left our chart, and we had just seen that the market had actually hit our take profit. Perfect. So okay, it's still not doing it, but anyway, you get the point. 5.5 it was risk to reward, and let's keep going. Let's see what kind of situation we have. So here from a daily perspective, nothing really much, right? We don't have any of our strategies at the moment. We go from a weekly perspective and what we have. Also the weekly time frame, we don't really have much. Obviously, on the monthly, we have nothing neither. So let's just keep going and see how price action actually evolved here. Okay, so clearly now what do we have? You're right, we have a W formation, right? Why do we have a W formation? Because the market, clearly, what do we have? From here down, up, down, up. What do you want to see? Push to the downside. Then ICI to the upside, right? After a W formation, you expect an ICI. But anyway, let's go on the 4 hours and check for one of our valid entries, right? Because that is what we're basically supposed to be doing, waiting for the market to change environment, and then we can basically start looking for a possible short opportunity. Okay, so now the environment of the market shifted right now, right? MACD below the 0, EMA is cut for short. So we can be looking for a short on the retest of this structure, and obviously where will basically the take profit be? At this area here, right? Previous resistance now turns support. In this case, we can put obviously the stop loss above this high. It's pretty tight, but it's a possibility. So at the moment we are in the trade. Obviously we're now risk-free on the trade because the market broke below the structure. Let's see how this ends up. Okay, this definitely ended up being a break-even trade, and now we can start looking for the ICI to the upside, right? Because the market created the push up, down, and you expect the next push to the upside for the completion of the ICI to the upside. So let's see here how things will develop. Okay, the price action just shifted from a bearish market to a bullish market, so definitely now we can be looking for an entry on the retest of this structure, right? Because here we now have this area here, which is previous resistance, now turn support. Stop loss will simply be below the 78.6 of the Fibonacci, taken from the low, to the high. And what about the take profit? You already know it from the rules of the ICI, right? Simple Fibonacci on the retracement and take profit at the -27, giving us a 1, 2, 3 risk to reward to the upside. Now let's see if the market will go and hit our entry. Okay, the market never hit our entry, so we never had the possibility to actually enter this position. Now let's see what kind of situation we have as we're speaking here. Okay, so nothing really. We would have liked to see the market go down, go back up. We had a nice ICI to the downside. Let's see what we have from a weekly perspective. So on the weekly time frame, situation is actually pretty interesting. Now why it's pretty interesting? Because we have a market that has created, okay, this kind of weird W formation here, and also this W formation here. Okay, so definitely from a weekly perspective, we want to see the market reach the zone here, which is the neckline of this W formation. So from a weekly perspective, we are definitely bearish. Let's go down on the 4 hours and see if we will find one of our entries inside of this area. So at the moment, nothing really yet. I mean, we had an entry here. This is the only entry that we really had, but ended up being a break even around this area. So not really, I mean, technically this was what I was mentioning basically, because we went a little bit too fast here, because this is what we had. Okay, the market broke the structure and we have the W formation, and we want to see the market go down from a weekly perspective. So going down on the 4 hours, we have just seen that environment shifted. Where is the structure? The structure is here. So if the market goes back to retest this area, what do? We take a nice short and overall take profit. You already know it is here. This is overall what I was speaking about before. So as you can see, the market first went down. At that point, we are risk-free because we have previous support and resistance here that is broken. And now is the moment in which basically the trade ends up being a break-even. So let's keep going, because possibly we could still see the market break lower. We could definitely see the market break lower. Let's see if we will get an opportunity here to take a short. Okay, so now we have the possibility to take a short, because the market from here went down, up, down, a little bit up. So it created a structure level here. So we can be looking for a short opportunity from here. The stop loss is obviously above the high, and take profit. We already spoke about it, right? We want to target basically this neckline area here, and it overall is almost a 1 to 3. Let's adjust it. Okay, is 1 to 3 with the stop above the high. So let's see if the market will actually from here make the push to the downside we would like to see. Okay, so this one ended up being a 1 hour loss, and let's see how things will evolve from a daily perspective. So on the daily time frame, everything at the moment looks actually bullish. From a weekly perspective, we have this push to the upside, so nothing really interesting. I want to see this weekly candle close. Perfect. Okay, so we now got this weekly candle close. Now, what do you see from a weekly perspective? Now, on the weekly time frame, what you can clearly see is that you have a market that definitely has created this W formation, definitely has created this W formation, and definitely has shown us that it failed to break the high and broke below this minor structure here, right? From here, the market went down, made a push up, broke back down. If the market will retest this area, we can expect the market to melt pretty aggressively, possibly all the way to the lows. So definitely at that point, we can definitely be targeting the lows. Okay, we do expect a big push to the downside from here. So let's go and see on the 4 hour time frame if we can find some kind of entries here. So from a 4 hour perspective, at the moment, definitely there are no entries. We don't really have the structure after this huge push to the downside. Looking for an entry immediately from here would definitely be too risky. We need to see some proper structure in place. Okay, now we have the structure, right? The market created a nice impulse to the downside. We have all this area here, which is obviously previous support, now to resistance. And from here, we can definitely be looking for at a nice short. The stop loss obviously above the 78.6 of the Fibonacci, taken from the high to the low. And sorry, from the high to the low. And what about our overall downside target? We already said that we want to see a big push to the downside from here. And let's see how this will actually play out. Okay, so we're now in the trade. Let's see if this ends up being a loss or the market will melt. Okay, definitely we are risk-free at the moment. Let's see if we will see a continued push down. Okay, so take profit hit. Let's see if there is another opportunity before the year ended. No. Okay, so this is how basically the second half of 2018 on AUDUSD ended up. Plus 3R minus 1R gives us a 2R, break even. This is 5R, we were at 2R, so 7.5R. So 7.5, 10.5, and this is an overall almost 11 return, 10.9 AR return for the second half of 2018 for AUDUSD, obviously without accounting for the correlation. So this is what we have at the moment on AUDUSD, and I hope it definitely helped.